So we were talking about SDS review team. Um, Describe their activities, their preferences, and their daily living, social, and activity preferences, and the tasks to be performed by direct service workers while providing the respite. Describe the oversight, care, and support the unpaid primary caregiver provides, including how the primary caretaker, and this is right from their wording, including and support they provide, including how the primary caretaker assists with ADLs and or IADLs. Make sure to identify the name and relationship of the primary unpaid caregiver. We'll let Kat back in here too. Oh, golly gee, Zoom. Don't you love it? Okay. Just think all our colleagues who um, attend this after the fact can enjoy that too in the recording. Oh, well, we try. Common respite questions and thoughts. It, u- Respite used to be unavailable to allow the unpaid caregiver to go to work. Is that still true? Respite is requested for only one purpose, to give the main unpaid caregiver a break. This presentation has reviewed current respite regs. Respite regs no longer say it is unavailable if the unpaid caregiver is working during the respite time. So it's silent on that, doesn't say it anymore. Uh, Common respite questions and thoughts. It is a waiver service. It is available to all waiver types. The person must have a primary unpaid caregiver. It's not available if the recipient has only state plan PCA or PCS, personal care services. So you got to have a waiver for this to have respite. It is available to the family hab home provider so they can get a break, but this can only be done with plain old respite, not family directed respite. And in summary, um, respite is important. It provides a service for the unpaid caregiver to get a break. With respite, they can do things with other family members or have time to themselves and then become refreshed so they can approach caregiving with renewed energy. It is unique because it is the only service that's requested to help someone other than the waiver recipient. Now, we know somebody is helping the waiver recipient during respite. That's the worker. But the idea of it is that the main unpaid caregiver is getting a break. Thus has concludes my quick presentation about respite. I'm going to stop this share and try to see if I can go to our comments. Uh, let's
Kara,
see
can
here.
you make some co-host spots again? I'm sorry, since you all
Yeah.
dropped off, our co-host and went
Oh,
away.
okay. Yeah, I'll do my best. Let's see. We find our recipients here. Sorry. Again, it is one of those things that what am I going to do? Okay, Cassandra, you should already be a co-host. Damon's a co-host. And let me find Kat. I'll make you the co-host as well. Okay, make a co-host. Gotcha. Good enough? Host stuff? Okay.
We're good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, let me see if I can get some of these questions answered. All right, let's see. Put in the service block that it's a flexible service, may not be used 10 hours a week as regulation is 520 hours a year. Give the agency flexibility to use as needed. If you say 10 hours a week, the agency may not be flexible. But great point. It is a flexible service. You can put that word, that's a super duper tip. You can put that it's flexible because the agency might not understand. So people don't have to use all their respite if they have some respite. I mean, people ask me a lot about banking, and we don't allow banking of services, but respite, it's not really banking. It's an amount that's approved for the caregiver to get a break. And if there are conditions where they need more, to prevent institutionalization, that means that the person would, without the caregiver getting a break, be going to a facility. That's the conditions. And you would have to sort of, rational use your conditions, what's going on, the circumstances. to describe how that would be the outcome if there was no respite, if there was no additional respite. So it needs to be where the person is going to have to go to a hospital or a facility unless the caregiver gets a break. And it is flexible like that. I've been told more than once that if they're paid at all, they will not get any respite as it's for unpaid only. Um, yeah, it is available for our paid caregivers, as long as they're also a main unpaid. The person has to have a main unpaid caregiver. They can still get respite. There was a lawsuit about that many years ago, and I could, if I could dig it up, I will. I have a pile of all of our lawsuits where it was found that a person was still providing significant care, even though they were like a paid PCS provider, and they were denied respite. And so we were told that through the lawsuit, that we need to also approve respite for people who have a paid care provider. As long as we tell what they do during the unpaid time, we can request respite for that. Uh, If you want a PowerPoint, if you want this, I will give you this. I'll give you the resource. I'll put it in our resource documents too in our SDS Training Academy. Family directed respite. An agency is continuing to pay only $12 an hour despite minimum wage being raised. No, they're not exempt from minimum wage laws. In the presentation, I said they got to follow that. It says it right there in regs. Um, no longer a limitation being provided while the unpaired. Yeah, you can get respite while they're working. It's not in there anymore. What about change amendments to change the primary caregiver? I have amendments kicked back due to trying to make the change due to not having any changes in service level. What is the requirement? Do we need to do amendments when the primary unpaid being respited is changed? An amendment, Kat says, an amendment is not required, but you can always submit one when a provider changes. Good point, but some of the agencies want an amendment, but they really need to note that the change is not an amendment. Yeah, I can see that happening.
If you're getting feedbacks from reviewers about that, let me know. Because an amendment could always be submitted, even if it's not an essay amendment. It's just processed a tiny bit differently, but the reviewers can still and should still review it. So let me know if you're getting kickbacks for any kind of changes like that. Provider changed, like a DSP provider, not an agency.
Hmm.
Fee change or goal changes, anything like that. If you're getting pushback,
Right.
because that shouldn't be.
Yeah, let us help. A lot of the questions about the flexibility, it's not banking. It's like being flexible with something. People don't really know when they're going to need a break. I mean, some people do, but we're not going to put to families and say, "Hey, you got to let us know if you're going on vacation and get this, that, and the other thing." It is not like that. It's flexible, but they only approve a certain amount. And the use of it should make sense. There should be amendments around, if a person uses a lot of respite and other services aren't being used, you can make an amendment to reduce that service in order to have the amendment, I'm sorry, the respite be used. We're, I'm not able to give every single circumstance. So if you would please give us your special challenges that you have, like when you have them, either email us or come to our office hours. Let us help you get that respite uh, described correctly and ultimately approved. And a great comments from our experienced care coordinator community. I really thank you for that. Um, that's working on audit and stuff like that with the agency. I get it. It can be a special art to negotiate with an agency when they're worried about audit. We also have provider office hours, so feel free to please refer them to us and we can help them unpack, understandings that might be old or just whatever they're facing. So, yeah, that sounds great. I really appreciate everybody with your patience with the technology and, dropping off. Okay, so next I had on my agenda inquiries and applications. Kat, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, just really quickly, some of you had already got emails from the CAP team. So Bree is no longer the unit manager. She had moved on and she will be an assessor, so I think she's doing all the trainings. So the acting unit manager is Melissa Mead for the time being until manager is hired. And I think we are going to get a waiver to hire and fill that position. But that said, the CAP team and they review the inquiries, all the influx inquiries and all the influx applications. That team is short-staffed. So you might see inquiries and applications take a little longer than usual to process. I'm not gonna put a number on it, but I want to say inquiries are probably about 10 days out or so, not more. And the same thing with applications, they are prioritizing initial applications as always. And then for inquiries, and you can always submit an expedite application if the person meets the criteria for that, right? If the situation meets the criteria. For inquiries, there's really no way to expedite an inquiry, but you could email Melissa or me, and we will work on getting that done. I'm helping that team with some of the inquiries to get them done a little more expeditiously, but we just bear with us. The hiring freeze kind of hit that unit pretty hard, and they're short staffed by a couple of positions, and that's kind of trickling down to the work. So if you have an immediate situation where the inquiry must be approved sooner rather than later, email Melissa or me, and we will try to get you figured out. Other than that, just give us time and give that team some grace. They are struggling and they are doing the best that they can with the few staff that they have. Hopefully, we'll get some hiring waivers and they'll be fully staffed soon. But then I can't get off the training time. So bear with us. So that's the best I can say. Bear with us on the application and inquiry.
Thank you, Kat. All right, agenda. What are you saying now? Let me get that up here so I can see it. Um, okay, so we have a special November info share, a special topic, and a new date. We are moving the info share to November 18th, 2025, 2 to 3 p.m. And we'll do the best we can to make that sort of baked into our, course. I might have to change it up a little bit in the LMS. But we have a special topic. So I wanted to see, Kat, maybe you want to throw out there what that
So
is.
we have heard and we empathize and we have struggled with some of the communication coming from and going to DPA. And we may have made a connection at DPA with somebody. His name's Eric Ross, and he has agreed to come to an info share in November to kind of gather some feedback from care coordinators specifically about what is working and what is not working regarding long-term care, Medicaid renewals, coding, things like that. So he's been around for a long time. He's familiar with the work that care coordinators do. So start thinking about the things that you are struggling with, maybe, or maybe things that are working, right? And then they could improve on. But we're gonna do the same hour session. He's gonna lead it. He's gonna ask some questions, but he really wants to talk about what works and what does not work when you reach out to DPA. So we kind of give him heads up about the things, sending DSMs and kind of needing to follow up over and over and not hearing back. So he's aware of those things, but by all means, bring the feedback that you have. And again, good and bad. If there are some good things that are working and that maybe they just need to improve on or build on, that would be great. And I think we're all prepared to hear more negative than positive feedback, but start thinking about kind of the things, again, not specific scenarios is not kind of HIPAA, right? Not HIPAA things that are specific to a case, because we're going to be discussing with everyone, but just general things like, again, emailing doesn't work. You said you emailed this 4 times and they're still requesting the same thing, or things like that, kind of that you're seeing. And maybe he's willing to take that back to the LTC team and kind of work on some improvements. So, but I think it's a good start would be for him to hear it directly from you guys about what the struggles are and what maybe there are some good things, and what the good positive things are that are working. So November 18th, which typically would be the all provider info share, we will cancel that one and we will just have the care coordinator ones. So there's going to be just care coordinators in that one. Same time as this, 2 to 3. We will send some email reminders. There may be a different link. We're not quite sure yet, but just save the date and I will send you guys an email to remind you. But November 18, 2 to 3, we will have DPA. And he's excited to hear feedback and he's prepared to hear negative feedback. And yes, we do need to update a caseload list, the DPA contact list, and we asked. Um, so they're working, hopefully working on that and getting that to us. And we did discuss that with him last week. I don't know, Carradine. He's got some good ideas, I think, and he just wants
I
to
think
hear
so.
back about what's been going on and maybe how he can incorporate the feedback into the work he's doing. And he's doing a lot of technical assistance with his
Mhm.
unit, it sounds like, and they do a lot of work with hospitals. So I think this would be good. I think this would be good. I think we need to show up and I don't want to say let him have it, but provide all the feedback that you have for DPA.
Right. And yes, an updated list, we know that it needs updating. This is part of our efforts to try to get clarity with them. So this time we have a person working who wants to hear with them who wants to hear, our challenges, so that he can work on a solution or a bridge to a solution, as it were. So we don't have a new list right now, but we know we need one. So yeah, come to the session on the 18th. You'll see us rearrange things around that so we can make sure everybody who wants to be there can be there. Yeah.
And we will allow some time afterwards as well for feedback if you cannot make it. If you can't make it to that session, we will allow some time afterwards to email us afterthoughts and maybe other
Hmm.
feedback.
Okay, we just have like 3 minutes left here. Uh, okay. Anybody want to take on the random questions, or just it's a little bit off topic, but maybe not. I don't know. When are backup care coordinator signatures needed on support plans? Are they required to be listed as one of the planning team?
That
My
is the only place right now that on the support plan that you could list the backup care coordinator. So I recommend listing them. They'd have to sign if they weren't part of it.
right.
Um, Sign, but I would list them just because this is really the only place on the support plan that a backup care coordinator is listed right now. We used to have a different section and on the support plan, but now that's the only one. So I would list them as a backup, but they don't have to sign unless they were a part of the meeting or want to sign or are available to sign. It's not required, but I recommend listing them on the support plan just for everybody on the team to know who the backup is, and especially for the person to know.
Okay. Well, we're just a few minutes up to the top. Um, We will, again, as a reminder, we'll provide a recording on our in our LMS, so folks who couldn't attend could engage in the recording and answer a few questions. Give us at least a day to get that ready. It takes quite a while to upload everything. We'll also make sure that you get a certificate of 1 hour CEH if you attended here today. We would have needed your name and attendance to the session for at least half the time. Some people come in and then they leave. They're like, I'm not coming in. I'll just come later. I'll just do it later with the recording. You always have an option to do the recording if you couldn't make it to this one. Um, we're just hoping to make sure people get the info. Um, and what else? What else? We talked about our November 18th uh, variant in our info share. So that's good. Talked about respite today. Thank you for your insights and questions on that. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for everything you do. And we'll stay connected. Come to our office hour, come to our info shares. We appreciate you. Thank you so very much.